Kyayisese omukambwe ekindi ekidye ti Abannayuganda twiremu okwambala obukookolo tiddirwa kiddire mukaire nga president yakakoba nti ndi mulwaire. So I'm reading something here nakwogera kuku nibesigema ku mbone kituufu ensonga eyo ntuufu eyaga etya. Mu studio zimunona mu kanso za Christopher Lubogo ni Dr. Shiron Robert. Kanso Christopher Lubogo ono yabeere yakawangula award ya eyomunonereza researcher. Is it at Africa? Twende okuba ate nga tukuyozayoza kanso. Kanso awandise ebitabo bingi ino wandika ino kumbeera ediriyo yakunkuba nti wano yawandika nti if I was a president one day demystifying the order from above. Waliwo ogutabo gulo ogunene ino ogwaga akameza kano objection my lord executive mandate
witchcraft and the law
ni cannabis
kayenjaga
yawandika kunjaga. So of course our own wabanga ali celebrated twongera okuba fena nga tukuyozayoza wala okuba ate ng'owangula award eyo ey'omunonereza asinze ku lukalu lwa Africa. Nali ndi kuba wano nti I'm an upcoming author. Mpandika ebintu natuuka obaolyawo nabula appetite. But of course ndakuba ate nga nkwegema ku nsobola okuba nga maliriza olunaku olwaleero mu kibuga eky'Idindawo ntegereku nti leader of opposition ono Mathias Mpuuga ndakuba mu kibuga eky'Idindawo n'omubaka wa parliament wa district eno omukyala onawo Manjeri Kyebakutiika mu kibuga ky'Idindawo mubyali awo mu Danida. Ababaka ba parliament ebiseera ebisinga tutera ino okola emikolo emikolo awandi gye tukola twende ino okuba nga tukola political visibility danino okuba ate nga tuyamba abantu baffe. So I'm challenging the members of parliament from wherever you are, let us invest our resources in community development than political visibility. Shidaba nga kituyamba because I've seen it very many times. Tukole no political visibility than community development. Abantu baliyo balikulira osobola obagemaku okuyamba abantu kitegeeza kuba wa sente that you can link them basobola okuba atenga bafuna kibatuuka. Nendaba eddukiza nti Baba Media Group tuyiteekateeka ekituudde nakulo omwezi nga 2 omwezi ogw'omusanvu. Ekituudde kya Baba FM ne Baba TV kitegeeza Christmas y'omwaka erimwe abantu abaidde nti entertainment is the food of the life. Tujja kuba mu kisaawe ky'Ebugembaawo omuntu yali mu kwedisa ekitegeeza. So ndi kusaba tandika okuba ate nga weteekateeka sobole kubaayo. Mu bindi President Museveni byayogeire, just wanted to read this. Anti-homosexual law. Before I talk about the planned legislative agenda for the coming session of Parliament, I cannot avoid commenting on the noise about the anti-homosexual law that you enacted and I signed recently. My stand on homosexuality has been repeatedly laid out all and sundry. It starts with a few questions. Why does somebody become a homosexual? Is it on account of genetic, hormonal, psychological reasons? Discussion is with our doctors and the other African doctors who had a conference with African members of parliament from 22 countries unequivocally led us to conclude that homosexuality is a result of psychological disorientation at the same point in one's life, not genetic and not hormonal, as some of us initially thought. This conclusion gives us a way forward. If somebody is a victim of psychological disorientation, do you criminalize him or her on account of that? Is it logical or fair to do so? The answer is no. Instead, such a person needs assistance to, if possible, overcome his psychological disorientation. I'm glad the MPs agreed with me and clarified this point in the law. Therefore, those who say that homosexuals will be arrested if they go for medical care, etc., are wrong. The law now says that a homosexual will not be criminalized for merely being so. If he or she keeps the being to oneself. What then does the law write? It fights this homosexual when he or she goes for merely being or starts recruiting other people who are not psychologically disoriented like him or her to be like him by misinforming or bribing. It is to just malayo. Kantandikire Dr. Shirondi. Explanation ya president.
So
could I say it is alikolesa gloves kungalo okugema kuiteeka lino?
Sam wandyamu olukwe. Kwe.
Naye kimanyi nga dokita bangi bamulyamu olukwe. Asoose gamba Bobi Wine.
Nakugamba nti leeta honorable bamuyita batya basaalirwa. Before that thing erupted, atuule wali nange ntuule wali. Tunyinyonyole public because bagenza asanga are not informed.
Bonna nga parliament yakola consultation bedawe ne council yagenda mu parliament.
Now let me tell you certain silent futures, whether you want to accept them or not. They are facts. Fact number one, waliwo genetics was dictating ngejite lyawo se ne wabera XXY oba YYX. Individual yo nga ina certain genitalia naye nga the body is fighting to be somewhere else. Now abantu abo have been there since time immemorial. Ne Bible ebogerako ne Quran ebogerako. So tojja kungamba nti tebaliyo. Two, gundi Muhoozi will say my father is a Chwezi and Museveni ajja kugamba nti I am a Sita. Both are right because Museveni is a Sita by blood but a Chwezi by religion. Now kati nzenga ali Chwezi by blood but not religion. Ebyo bintu byetaaga okutegeera nabyo. Because I don't believe in what they do, but I don't believe in certain things they do, like to segregate, no sosola, or using sex as a weapon. Now, for them, since time immemorial, they have used sex as a weapon.
Which kind of people?
The Chwezis. Atula Montebe, bakuwatch on any kind of sex you want, whether it is a V, or it's a P, or it's a A. Bajikuwa, bebama lejikuwa, neba kuteka mukatu, neba kukozesa kye baagala. Now, Museveni looked into the eyes of CNN with Amapwara, Nagamani. No, it is not African. Yet they have used it for time immemorial as a weapon against the people. Now, njagala ompuliriza tompuliriza bulungi. Okuleeta anti-homosexuality bill teyali kukwata kuba bagay oba homo, but they were deliberate moves to make Uganda gay. Yeah. When you're in calculating a habit, it goes through 4 stages. Stage number 1 is shock. Stage number 2 is debate, discussion, and acceptance. Now, stage bwe yasooka, Bahati ne basaalirwa baleeta anti-homosexuality bills. And at the same time, the presidency ne fueling a debate. How? Luli Museveni ya accusing Bobi Wine of being gay. Kuruno Janet Museveni nalete a barua ewulirizaako. They fueled the debate. Now, this is what happened in exactly the same situation. Judith had, during Bahati time, kissed Zarius Hassan. And this time, the Mayanjas kissed on the stage. These are celebrities And Museveni was excusing a celebrity who have a following, by enough following. And what happens? Omwana wabuli Joe agamba, if Bob my idol is gay, then being gay is not really bad at all. Jukira lula accusing Kenzo ono muwala bani ono muwala omuyimbi Shiba, accusing Bobby Wine, accusing Grenade. There are a number of celebrities who are accused of being gay. Now, this is what happened.
Are they accused and it's not true?
This time, do you have evidence?
And I mean,
do you have evidence? Now, what has happened? This time the debate has been so bad. Nti omwana wange omuwala wa 14 yajja nambuuza, because for them they are international schools tebibakwatako these things, they just talk them. Yangamba, Daddy, talk about anal sex in front of everyone. It was being debated in saloons, it was being debated in markets, and to shock you, abantu abali wansi abalabye ennaku gabagamba, so omuntu bw'aba ampadde ssente zange to hell. Now, Chopolaba essaawa eno lwakubanga I feel so bad whenever he makes a disclaimer. I feel so bad and angry whenever he makes a disclaimer. Lwaki be bakwano bange be naali badde ngamba nti mukwano wange lwaki tetutwala Janet Museveni
mukyala nga wamulemerako
kamalirize
asokonziremu ekyo
kamalirize kubulire lwaki namukyawa nnyo. Lwaki oyo omwami naali badde mwekwatako tugende mu kooti to Janet Museveni answering charges of using reverse psychology of making Ugandans gay. Using reverse psychology. Reverse psychology tato kimanyi nti kisobola okusiba omuntu. Kati noonya abantu abasomyeko nga ggwe tutwale omukyalo oyo using reverse psychology okumakinga abaana baffe gay, because a 14-year-old girl asked me, Daddy, talk about
yakijja kwoli.
That is where the debate began from.
But it is not her who told her. The girl who got it from a debate. So it was from a third party.
Yes,
don't criminalize.
Janet Museveni led the debate this time.
So before
led the debate the other time.
Before you go to council, we just wanted you to.
Era council.
Ebigambo by'omukulembeze bikulaga ki?
Ebigambo by'omukulembeze. He's playing ping pong. He's not really after the gay, but him leading a fascist government. A fascist government uses law to intimidate people to do what it wants. We are under a fascist government that uses the law. Bateko ebiro ebyekimpatira. For example, public management bill. Bagamba nti oyina okujewa police ekuwe chance or kuba olukiiko. What has happened to our members of parliament? They are no longer members of parliament. They are not. Tebakyasobola kugenda mu bantu basikinge advice y'abantu. They are no longer debating for the people, but they are debating whatever takes place in their own. Omukyalo oyo obadde obamenya nti simanya they are doing things okubeera relevance. No, they can do nothing. Omuntu yaleeta etteeka eryo neritta every member of parliament. And that's what in my political career, I cannot go to parliament right now because parliament enter your political career. Era saba muganda wange oyo anyinyonnyole njagala ntegeere akantu ke bayita reverse psychology nkategeere
kati ate gwe oyagala kutwala muntu nga n'ekintu omusango gw'omutwalako nawe togutegeere.
Njagala bannayuganda bagutegeere from another gundi.
Council, is the president using gloves on to touch this law?
I recently had made up an opinion not to comment any further ku bintu ebigemagana n'ekisiyaga, but being my friend, I'll give that excuse on your behalf, because you know you always ask intelligent questions, and I think you have a bright future as a journalist.
Thank you.
I have no doubt about that. I'm only praying that you don't attempt to go into politics so fast, so to build your career as a journalist. Then eventually those things will open up. But by the way, I'll argue homosexuality in Gabokobia. But let me first argue the other issue which I'd forgotten about, why the president appoints Right Honorable Nabanja. In Kenya, their constitutional dispensation is different. They have what they call a deputy president. We have a vice president. So there's a difference between a deputy president and the vice president. Deputy president, they stand on the same ballot with the president, even when they are campaigning. So they virtually do the same thing, you know, so he deputizes. Here, it's just a question of saying so and so. You function at the pleasure of the president. So because of that variance, which we try to make even in the other book of constitutional mandate, and the president is right when he argues and says, I'm appointing Nabanja to handle state affairs in my absence.
And in addition to that, the vice president is out of the country.
Well, substantially, yes. I'm not sure if the office is out. But, so those are questions of debate. But coming back to the debate that my brother, Dr. Chironde, was fervently arguing, it was, and these are the things I told you last time. I projected, I told you what is going to happen, I told you the arguments they're going to propound. I've looked at the petition written by my learned senior lecturer and supervisor, Dr. Kabumba, and also Professor Sylvia Tamale. And I've looked at the arguments. Everything that I talked about that is going to happen, even in Parliament, I looked at Fox Odoi. I told him, these are the challenges. And one of the ladies asked me and said, you are scaring us. We want to pass the law, but you're scaring us. I said, yes, even in the hustle to pass the law, please look out on certain things.
Yeah.
You know, and when I was arguing, Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity also was a bit scared because I went there first of all on their behalf, but they felt like I wasn't Christian enough.
As if you are betraying them.
Absolutely. But you see, my argument is this: if you argue in terms of religion, I know what the Bible says, I know what the Quran says in terms of those. The Quran actually has more scriptures against homosexuality than even the Bible. But for me to argue Sodom and Gomorrah is to be shallow. Because what are you going to say to a person, an intellectual who knows nothing about Sodom and Gomorrah, or who doesn't believe in the Bible, for example? Yesterday, Besige's son, who you rightly know that is a problem, homosexual, comes out with his master's paper, writing a justification why Uganda and other things should actually advocate for that. Now, if you're arguing with people of that from University of Chicago, think about that. If you're arguing people of that, you're not going to begin arguing the Bible says this or the Bible that. Religion blocks intelligence and reason. So every time you argue, and that's what I was telling the members of Parliament, every time you argue, understand the debate. Don't
believe that all people are in the same...
Absolutely. Now, let me go back to the Warfare Commission, 1930-something, 31, I think. Professor Hart propounded the idea of privacy. And then there were other individuals who propounded the idea of morality, where they're arguing that this issue, is it a question of morality, is it a question of privacy? Please understand that. His Excellency comes out and says, I will not interfere with issues that have to do with the privacy of an individual. Not so. So whatever they do in their own privacy is their own what? Business. That's what he said the first time. You remember? And that's what he has said again, if you remember, in passing, although there is a law, but that's in effect what he has said. Now, let us go one by one. All the international conventions, beginning with European conventions, which we are signatory and ratified, beginning with ICC, PRP, which we are signatories and ratified, UN conventions, which are signatories and ratified, all those conventions actually propound the idea of non-segregation when it comes to the word sexual orientation. Now, the big ignorance of the people, and of the members of Parliament, I told them, the ignorance is that you are failing to understand, to make a distinction between homosexuality and those other traits that are easily associated with homosexuality. What is homosexuality? homosexuality is having sex with a person of the same sex, not so. Now, if you're arguing, like Doctor was trying to bring out aspects of people who are born perhaps with two hermaphrodites, not so, people who have two sexual organs, or people who they call them what, who want to change.
Transgender. Yeah, he has one
we have about 70 genders. 70 genders. That's why they're arguing in terms of LGBTQ, queer. Now, I told you, if you don't isolate those two things, you're going to have a problem in court. And that's the same problem that Kenya had in terms of Eric Gitari versus NGO board. The same issue that is happening in Kenya. The same matter was taken before the Supreme Court of Kenya, and Kenya argued and said, listen, sex orientation has got a big and purposive generation in terms of interpretation. One of the things we call it purposive interpretation in statutory interpretation of law. Kati buli narrowing interpretation ya sex to condone simple relationship between a man and a woman and ignore the transition of sexual orientation nga way taking a place. Because now the true interpretation of sex as by law is sex is a relationship between a person and another of their own choice. Think about that. And I told them that statistically about 60% of other creatures also engage in homosexuality tendencies. The highest being baboons and apes. But the difference between the baboons and the apes and other things that carry out this sexual, including pigeons, they don't do it because they don't penetrate. You as penetration. So I argued in terms of the moral perspective, but in terms of a natural order of nature. So by arguing homosexuality, I can argue it in terms of nature, order, and pattern, and say, even without using common sense, does it procreate? Even if we don't want to procreate, does it help us in terms of the nation, development, in terms of tomorrow, without even arguing religion? You get my point? So we have a lot of debate. Article 9, Sub-Article 2 of the African Charter has an escape route for us. I told them that. I also told them the case of Naba Gesera, she's also one of the petitioners, by the way, again.
On this?
Yes, on this one, the constitutional petition. She's again there as well. Versus that.
So make it clear. Already we have a petition.
Yes, we do. Already
filed in the constitution.
Absolutely. And I can project where it is going.
Do you see the future of this zero standing?
2 reasons. Number one, if they argue in terms of what Justice Musota said, and says Article 43, which proposes the idea of limitations in terms of freedoms, right? Then they have an escape route. Because they will argue by vacuum, Charles Onyango versus Attorney General, and also by virtue Naba Gesera versus Attorney General, that if your freedom of expression infringes on public morality, as proponed by Professor Hart, then they have a good escape route. And if they argue Article 9, Sub-Article 2 of the African Charter, which says it is right for countries to propose their laws based on their norms and culture, then they have a good escape route. The question is whether or not the judicial officers will be judicial enough, substantial enough, and affirmative. Because many times we see them having issues.
You've used the word judicial now. There is a day when you told me that there is a time when the judiciary becomes more executive mandate
than the executive.
Doctor, I know you have a point, but ndikiriza mpumulemo katono ndija kubangandira nti wetubanga buli iwanga liri ku lukalu lwa Africa lirifuna obuzibu okulemezaawo iteeka lino. Kiki kye tulina okukola kubanga Kenya yafuna ebizibu nirina iteeka. And you know what is in Kenya. Omuntu ayinza okuba nti Kenya basazaamu iteeka ekitegeeza abayikiriza ebisiyaga. And currently as we speak answer okuba nti already tulina petition mu Constitutional Court. Ate tumaze obuna nti ni president okwinonola kunalaga nti iteeka eryasainingibwa liri mu gaps, liri mu grey hairs. Kinategeere ku wano nti ekivulu kya nyegenyege. Ekibe ekibanga mu eggwanga lino erya Uganda kiyo tikyatwalibwa Kenya. Kiyinza obutabaawo unless nga something change. Ndi kwirota vaawo.
Baba TV obusoga bulayire.
Olina kasenteko oyagala kulattako ofuneko obwezimbira Julex otunda nyumba gye weezimbira oba oyagala kugula eweddewo n'okutawuka Julex ekyapa kyo wakifuna oyagala kukikyusa kidde mu mannya go Julex buli luguudo lwewayagala oluyingira Kampala bano balinako ettaka Julex bamufuna mpola tuwonye bano batunda n'ettaka ku kibanja mpola Julex namwe be babbako ettaka nga byakulemerera oyagala anakulwanira Julex balina ettaka mu Kampala wonna munnange yangu ofuneko weezimbira Julex
Property Consultants Limited tusangibwa Nansana ku Jenina State oba tukubire ku namba z'essimu zino wammanga 0752 46 11 oba 0788 46 11 yangu ofune ekyomulembe
Julex.
Every activity okujimaliriza, you need a refreshment. Not all refreshments are up the standards you require. Okitegeera? Katino, choose the best. Ekisingayo ngaye Chituzi drink. A drink made from fresh everything okugeza mushroom obutiko, fresh bee honey omubisi gw'enjuki. So for great energy, excitement and a better day. Find Chituzi drink in a shop or supermarket near you. For more information, tukubireko kunoti 787 3 noti 4 531. Chituzi.
Wamaliriza siniya ey'okuna oba siniya ey'omukaaga nga wandyagadde ofuna obukugu mu by'obujjanjabi weewandiisa olwaleero ku ttendekero lya St. Francis Schools of Health Sciences. Tusomesa ku mitendera gya diploma ne certificate era ng'okuwandiisa abayizi kugenda mu maaso mu matendekero gano okuli erya School of Nursing and Midwifery, School of Allied Health Sciences wamu ne School of Management and Applied Sciences. Omuli courses nga Clinical Medicine, Pharmacy, Medical Laboratory, Nursing and Midwifery n'endala nnyingi era nga twakakasibwa ebitongole nga OAHE mu courses za Allied Health Professionals Council, UNMEP mu courses za Uganda Nurses and Midwifery Council, saako ne UGTE mu courses za Management School. Weewandiisa olwaleero nga tusangibwa Namataba kilomita 5 zokka okuva mu tawuni y'e Mukono ku luguudo oludde Jinja, oba otukyalireko ku mutimbagano gwaffe ku www.splash.ac.ug.
The SDA English Church Jinja City, in collaboration with the Loma Linda University Hospital in the USA and Pan Medical Services Jinja, have brought you a specialized medical and dental camp from 19th to 23rd June 2023 at the Pan Medical Facility in Jinja. The registration, screening of patients and booking of specialist doctors and surgeons will start on Monday, 5th June to 16th June 2023 from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Pan Medical Hospital in Jinja. Only registered patients will be served by our medical specialist and the surgical team from the United States of America. For more details, please contact Frank on 0706 74 0533, Ben on 0774 21 0487, or Henry on 0772 20 22 60. This medical camp is brought to you in partnership with Baba TV and 87.7 Baba FM obusoga bulayire. The chairperson Chirakule Jibutiki Old Boys Association Chikoba, Dr. Batesach Agre, in conjunction with the headmaster Chirakule Jibutichi, invite OBs of Chirakule Jibutichi for their annual general meeting and homecoming scheduled for this Saturday, 10th June 2023, starting at 9 a.m. The guest of honor will be the first Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for East African Affairs, Right Honorable Rebecca Alitwala Kadaga. Please informed that we will also have a social networking night at Galaxy Auto Spa, located between Luvas and Iganga Roads. Please keep time.
Ekibuga kya Baba FM ne Baba TV omuli abayimbi bonna. You know
Maninga yimo korombotama. Saundi bongo tadombo ya matumbo. Amatala mbilasu ya chena mbimbola. Sechiteli dungu mbalo bamba tamadumbo. Kumtualo gumo. Atemi tualo komi VIP. Chunda cha Baba FM ni Baba TV chikeduwa musente.
Pepsi, for the love of it. Everywhere you go, MTN. Now special, true Ugandan reward from the source.
Tuna kubanje kube. Ngubili chula ikumi bila blue setu. Ugembe Stadia.
Obadde otawanyizibwa na ndwadde olina ebizibu ebyenjawulo Naalongo Naabire Neigaga avuddeyo okuleka nti akutaasa mu bizibu ebyenjawulo gwe yalwala ekigalanga abatabufu b'emitwe amakanga gayuuga omwami nga towangaala mu kisaawe omukyala atazaala oyagala balongo oyagala kukyusakyusa mu nzaalo emikisa gyo nga gyagootaana atendeka abakyala ku bigambo by'ekisenge saako n'empisa ez'omu maka omusajja ayomba omwenzi omusajja yakunobako oyagala kuva ku mwenge oba sigala obubbi bwakolemerako amagulu gakumeketa ensaka eziruma emigongo egiruma saako n'egimeketa baakukuba empagama ayina eddagala lya pawuda lyakuwa okusobola okuba nti owona endwadde ezo ez'enjawulo osobola n'omukubirako ku ssimu ze zino wammanga ku 0707 39 52 61 oba 0789 71 24 88 ye Naalongo Naabire Neigaga.
Enoni Baba TV obusoga bulayire.
Okay, tuida kuba ate nga tumaliza n'ekitundu kyaffe kino ekisembayo yosinzira okuba ate nga oli tubona nenda kwebaza. Thanks for watching us. It's a very good opportunity so that you can be with us every Saturday kuva essaawa 4 paka essaawa 6 gw'amalya g'ekyemisana ona korido lwabaire lwabazira. Nenda kuba ate nga nebaza waliwo ebitongole eby'obwannakyewa ebikoze omulimu okuyamba ku bantu mu byalo eby'endawulo okulankulana nga tibaterebwamu ssente da gavumenti tibakolesa structures da gavumenti nenewe aye nga bakolesa MP entono webawandidde basonda badde bafunako okuva mu bagaba buyambi okuba nga bakyusa ku bantu abo bazira kozi bemereza o community ero yagana abakyala basically abakyala bakoze obubiina babegeisa okusavinga babegeisa okutereka sente babegeisa okukola nenda kuba ate nga mbebaza bana ebitongole bingi ino tusobola kuba ate nga mbamalayo but mwidinda waliwo ekitongole kya Wipe Uganda. For today I want to celebrate you mukozesa amaanyi ino okuyambaku abantu abali mu byalo eyo obagana nga bakunganiza abakyala babegeisa okukola abakyala bayiza okusavinga esente kitweirewo obugayavu mu bantu nti buli we wabaawo omuntu akukumaakuma kola kino oyagana nga abantu batuuse ku kiri president kyatera okwogera ku social economic transformation nga teviire waigulu eno mu government nga ba players bantu bawansi. Nenda tumalirize nikino nti Doctor, my worry is one. Wobanga olingira amawanga agali ku lukalu lwa Africa ebintu bibiri. Bwe tuba tulingire ku morality waliwo ebintu nga titwandibiikiriza. But because Africa we are desperate. Desperate means nti omuntu atuuka n'okuliisa omuziro gwo but just because you don't have and tusabiriza mawanga g'abakulu abazungu abakulankulana galina otubeesawo yet we have resources that can sustain us. For your information you here n'abali bona Baba TV ido twafunye a brief report okuva mu Commissioner General URA baba wa target ya 25 trillions. Per now as we talk we are in June bakasoloza ku 21, the total is 21 trillions, meaning babuzaayo omwezi mulala from now June ono aweeko by 1st July babe nga basoleza the 4 trillions $25. It means nti Uganda tulina by the resources edisobola otusustaininga kuko the desperation eriwo nti tweguya amawanga agaakulankulana and they are against the respect of our morality. Eri ewange eri Africa liri erijja okuinactinga iteeka lino listanding libeewo tusigale ku buwangwa bwaife. Do you expect that?
Now, President wa North Korea yagamba nti yeewuunya lwaki omuddugavu yakkiriza omuzungu n'amujja ku polygamy n'amuzza ku kisiyaga. I think he was so right. Because for Africa we've given waliwo omuzungu omulala yagamba those stupid Africans have given away their rights and that is why they are suffering. Ekitubonyaabonya nti twakwata eddembe lyaffe ne tuligaba. Mu Africa kyekizibu ekitulina twakwata eddembe lyaffe ne tuligaba. Museveni president ajja atuyambe, Museveni president ajja atuyambe and all that crap. Now, nze ng'omuntu nze ng'omuntu kiki kye tulina okukola? Maama ne taata ali eyo tokkiriza bantu kwogera ku kintu ekyo bakireete ekintu ekibaddewo since time immemorial bakifuule a topic mu katale mu gondi. Now ngenda nkansokere ku busiraamu. This time the gay debate has been led by Muslims. Basaalirwa ne Old Kampala bwe batandika ekintu bwe kyatandika mubajje ne baorganizinga a street protest by children. Now yo Kurhani egamba ki? Kurhani egamba tekkiriza muntu bw'oba oyina ekize ekyo kikuumire mu kisenge era musango nnyo okujja omuze gwo n'oguteeka mu public. Now era musango nnyo okutambuza omuze ogwo. Now essaawa eno buli seeka atuula ku kituuti bisiyazi. Buli abaana abali mu muzikiti ne batandika okwebuuza ye kikyo kino bagenda ne babuuza abazadde. Now nze ng'omuzadde baali bakibuuzizzaako ti daddy what is anal sex? Now nze ng'omuzadde nina kukola ki? Nina kustopinga the debate era nina okukozesa etteeka lyerimu okucriminalizing omuntu yenna eyaleeta debate. Kyova olaba apiringa ku bannayuganda abasomya amateeka abategeera amateeka bannange essimu yange eri 0701887527 tutwale Janet Museveni mu kooti
kweyanziza
leka kikutule
naye wakyogeddeko
psychology
misundu
ye yaleadinga debate eyigemekinza abaana baffe ge
kale nkweyanziza Dr. Shirondi. Obubaka bwo buyinza obutabeera buwomu eri eggwanga kubanga reverse psychology engeri y'okinnyonnyolamu bangi tebakitegeera. Nawe ogambye nti abakozinga debate ojja batwala mu kooti. Saagala kubeera abamu ku abo kuntwala mu kooti kubanga tukontinuinga ne debate. But maybe on actually I got to commenting. My issue was, will Africa stand this low? Nga tuli signatory conventions as respecting human rights. Just a quick one, I would njagadde tutunulire ku the next session ya budget.
Depending on how how bold the judicial officers will be. From what I see, you are lucky.
Me or Ugandans?
Well, you as Ugandans. You are lucky because when you look at the justices who are likely to hear that petition, and I don't want to be misquoted again. Ndikwenda kwesa ekigambo ekitono ino ekitaniize abantu. But if you had people like the academians, if you have people like Professor Chirikubinza, if you had people like Dr. Chisa, the one who disagreed with the investigation, Sache. If you had people like the late Justice Kakuru, you would be in trouble. But you are lucky. Because this is...
Can we have hope?
Absolutely. No doubt about that.
Because what I'm worried of is, if this time again this law is overturned, I don't see it coming back. I'm seeing us going to funeral to bury it and forget it.
You are lucky, judicial officers and they don't use your word again.
That is the fate. Of course, it's a very big conversation, and we shall continue following it. I believe it's going to be in the middle of the week. We need to be Thursday. To join the budget speech. So finance, Elijah Kubanga, Esoma budget on behalf of the president and the parliament. Budget year 52.7 trillions. Twaba nonga tulikulingirira segmentation. Masigalanga still mukalemu grayers. It is this budget. Actually, 2023 it has been a year of contradictions in the government MDAs. Budget eno okuida okumalirizibwa committees edenda dali tidiri kuikanya paka ibatuuka ndooza kundikiriziganya. Mulimu ine sente detailibwamu okubanga byedijja okolaku biri in governance and administration. Uganda, as we talk now, tubandibwa esente. Our debt budget is 86 trillions. And still, we have a plan okwewola kumanerenda ali Kenya 3 trillions. And that's the budget we are reading. You are a Uganda Revenue Authority. Jeba awaited target ya 25 trillions. As we talk now, Commissioner General, Kobe Bakasoroza 21 trillions. It is expected this time to be given a target of 28 trillions. What is it? What is the fate of Uganda in the next financial year?
Waliwo ne ajuinze yakati, by the way, mwinzo okulowooza nti owekitiibwa His Excellency mulwaire nga jiri kubona nga it was a financial consequence. Because every day he spends an average of about how much? 2.5 billion. Is that right? You remember, according to what came out in the newspaper. So you are thinking about this thing in terms of expenditure, but substantially, if the budget is to come out, these ideologies of the economy is going to swing, don't work. To know what pragmatic name to be able to do. If URA has been given a target to do that, and they just
we are in June.
In June, and they are doing well, then that should answer some of our problems, shouldn't it? You know. But how come it never answers those problems? In fact, me, I see there's a problem by URA announcing that it is actually attracting what your friend Yamale calls mafias to begin targeting it. Or we do grant area minister about who cheats. Was it necessary? That you were too weird, and how you defend it is your problem. So the bigger problem we have as a nation is really substantially leaving the letter. Recently, your friend, Semuju, about your friend Sudil. Like he's a gentleman who earns basically 600,000 shillings per minute. 600,000 per minute.
Because of wisdom.
97 per day.
And how he gets certain properties?
Million per day. And then about 2.9 per month, billion shillings. And yet it's still the same individual who is still having all those other issues that have, you know. And yet I'm told he's not the richest. So we have so many challenges as a nation.
And I want to add on something small. Some of these properties were properties of security agencies like the one of CMI on the Chitate Road.
Yeah, he mentioned those.
Yes, that have ended up being rented to gold. So who is today really working for?
as a business person.
So the issue of budget proportions and appropriation is a very big debate for this country. We have had sweet words coming out of very many ministers. The enforceability and practicability of it is another thing, my brother. I will not be surprised if they come out and say the roads are in such a menace and we have given such and such amount of money, but effecting it is another question. Eri yankoba echintu, and with all due respect, the mayor is my friend. Atoba nasirike ayo banavaye ni bakoba ati olugudo otuwere billion tinga avaye atandika okwekalakasa. I don't know why. Whether it's a question of governor or something, but you are asking a very pertinent question, whether or not we as a country have the ability okukozesa esente netukunganiza okukola omulimo gwetulina okola. The bigger problem is, my brother Samuel, is the issue of corruption at the end of the day.
And President talked about it yesterday.
So regardless of corruption, on which corruption now has actually been designated to sacrifices of certain sacrificial lambs at the expense of others. I will not go into the nitty-gritties of abantu abayizizayo stiletted amabati because they have taken advantage of a wind blowing in a certain direction. But you know better. You are a journalist.
Sam,
you've spoken a lot of poems. Bana ninzeze nka mutegeire aye ninzo utabiba inonola.
Sam. Toiza chikiriza nti India esuksa more than 1 billion people. Inaba members of parliament. Wina mwanga. India erina more than 1 billion people. Inaba members of parliament. Binamu atano. China era naye hitting 1 billion people who could deliberate as members of parliament. Bali chikumi mwana. Brazil eritambulira mu bitano. Nena erina members of parliament abali mu bitano ne n'abantu bagenda mu billion. They have the numbers, but they have almost the same members of parliament like a country of 44 million. The other issue is, in Brazil, erina abantu abakolanga ba mayors 10 ne India bwetyo fewano buli kiyenje kimeya
naye olulimi lw'essi lulungi.
Nze nkubuulira amazima bannayuganda mwagala amazima, and somebody has to learn to talk it blunt.
Naye amazima go gavoola. Tosobola kuyita bameya biyenje.
We should learn to talk it blunt. Maybe that is when some sense will come into people.
Kati bameya balina Dr. Sokolindeko. Bameya balina buzibu ki?
Now the problem we
kubanga
have,
government etekawo administrative units ne babalonda.
The public expenditure, the expenditure on governance, a little high we cannot afford. A little high to allow any meaningful business to take place in the country.
Temukola sente.
Never muzikola bazilia. Kati nze kankubulire nze ng'omusawo. License yange nze ng'omuntu bagisabako sente. Eddwaliro lisaba license. Okiwulidde eddwaliro lisasula license. KCCA nejja neesaba sente. Uganda Revenue Authority neesaba sente. Ate Uganda Revenue Authority n'erinda ebintu bye nnaakozesa ku entry point n'ebisaba sente. Lancha abakozi gye tulya netusaba ku sente. So buli wenna ekyusa, it is a tax. It is a tax. It is a tax. To feed those people who go and actually do nothing. So, bannayuganda mbagamba, don't think about okuyukyusa presidency, president nga tokyusiza the presidency. I repeat, don't think about okukyusa president nga tokyusiza presidency, because embeera yo tegenda kukyuka. Presidency ntegeeza nti biki ebiyimirizaawo obwa president obwo. Mwina okuyiwa ba members of parliament bonna ne mufuna abantu nga 10 mwana oba 12 mulina okuyiwa bammeeya nemusigaka bammeeya ngaaba central nebeera east nefuna north nebeera abalala they are not mayors. Mulina okuyiwa all those many councils that you don't really need to. Mulina okuyiwa ekintu from square one because ministers bameka
kinana babiri.
Does a simple country like Uganda warrant grown Bungereza ina 10
tebalina mugaso buli omu gwe balonda tola mugaso gwako
Bungereza ina 10 bakola ki
Uganda tulina emirimu mingi
balimenti okutujja mu kubonaabona abazadde batandise okudduka abaana baabwe abazadde batandise taking a refuge from the kids who are demanding simply food, water and shelter, but the parents can no longer give the food, shelter and good.
Okay.
Omwana demands zaabwe tasaba kintu kingi omwana asaba shelter emmere genda ku ssomero n'omuzadde atuuse ekiseera adduse
kale dasiika nsigazaayo ndala yonka sibule kuva mu kifo kino nongera okuba ate nga baidukiza abannayuganda twongere okuba abakozi tunaabanga tuli bakozi tunoonye esente ife tufune esente daife and we stop being desperate for politicians batusubiramu nti betwidde ofunamu akaire kano amaadi gatandise okutoona tulime parish development model project eri kwidda